Hello folks, my name is Kimberly Garcia. Today we have a special guest speaker, Paul Cicala, from NBC affiliate in Tucson, Arizona, who is visiting Rio Hondo as a guest lecturer for the Broadcast News and Beginning Speech class. Okay, so how do you feel about the Rio Hondo atmosphere so far?
I like it. You guys have a lot of the things that I didn't have, when I was in college. Everybody here is able to literally do interviews on pretty much camera phones. The technology is where it is. I was very impressed with your guys' student-run podcasts and your student-run magazine, your student-run newspaper. Those are things that, even though we're a junior college here, at least at Rio Hondo, it has the feel of a four-year institution here, and you guys are definitely the future journalists of the world, and you guys are definitely taking a step in the right direction.
All right, perfect. So where were you born and raised?
Born and raised Tucson, Arizona. Tucson's, southern Arizona. For some people that don't know exactly where it is, it's a 45-minute drive from the border with Sonora, Mexico, and it's on Interstate 10. You head west, you head right to LA, and that's where I was born and raised.
All right. What is your educational background from middle school, high school, college?
Yeah, just, went to middle school, went to, high school in Tucson. After I graduated at the age of 18, I moved to Los Angeles. I went to USC. And it's ironic that I ended up in journalism. I always was a writer when I was in high school. I always took part in the school paper. I was an athlete, and I knew that's what I wanted to do, but I was always good at math and science, so I ended up actually getting accepted to USC as a civil engineering major because everybody always told me, yeah, you're good at math and science, let's do this. But I realized before I even started taking classes that if I don't go after my love and my dream, I'm going to regret it the rest of my life. So before I even started classes, I applied to USC School of Journalism. Luckily, I got in, and everything's worked out for my career since.
How was your experience at USC?
It was a good experience. Being in LA, you're in market number 2. Goes New York, then LA, and you get that opportunity. And USC has a good school of journalism. The emphasis at USC, as it should be, is on writing. No matter what, as a broadcast journalist, it's a visual and an audio and a medium of sorts, but you have to be a good writer. You have to be a good storyteller. And at USC, they taught us that first, and then the TV stuff came after that.
Perfect. All right, what made you interested in becoming a journalist today?
Many things. I grew up just as a young athlete, and when I realized, if I can't make it in pro sports, I want to report on it. But also, I've always been a news hound. I've always wanted to be where the action is. And as a reporter, you have a chance to witness history and be there for history and report on history. And knowing that you get those opportunities, it draws you in. And if you love writing, if you love storytelling, if you love being a little bit creative, and as you can see, I'm a pretty energetic person, so that probably goes well with TV in many ways. It was there for me. But I also knew that if I didn't make it as a reporter, I had backup options. I wanted to be a teacher, or there was so many other lines of work that I would look into because not everybody makes it as a reporter, unfortunately. There's a lot of people who graduate with journalism degrees, but there's very few jobs.
So where did you start off in the industry in the beginning?
I was fortunate that since I was in LA, I was able to get a job in college working for Fox Sports. It wasn't much. It was almost like a glorified internship, but I did get paid. Right out of college, I got a job with NBC Network News, where I was able to produce and do stories and film produce as well for NBC Nightly News, the Tom Brokaw, the Today Show, Dateline. And it was a great opportunity for anybody right out of college. I was 22 years old, and I was getting to travel to Mexico sometimes, to all parts of the West Coast to do stuff for NBC Network News. It was a great experience, but I wanted to be on air too. And being on air, you have to usually start off in small markets. So from there, I took a job in El Centro, California, which isn't too far from here. The market is the El Centro/Yuma, Arizona. It was the NBC affiliate. And there, I even got to do international stories because it's on the border with the border town Mexicali with, San Luis, Sonora, Mexico, and it truly was one of those markets where even though it was a small market, you got to do international type stories. From there, I jumped to my hometown, Tucson, Arizona, and all this was news. I started off in news, and then from there, I took a job in Las Vegas, and it was the weekend sports anchor / news reporter during the week for the ABC affiliate. So I got the best of both worlds. Went back to California for a bit. I had a stint in the Palm Springs area. Then I moved to El Paso. That's the constant career of a journalist. You're jumping from market to market. And now I'm back in my hometown of Tucson, Arizona, working for the NBC affiliate there.
Nice. So were there any struggles along the way? Anything?
It's always a struggle. The biggest struggle is a lot of people, they see this as a limelight job, and it is to a degree, but journalists are among the lowest paid of any professionals that have college degrees. It goes social workers and then journalists. So literally, I'm coming out of USC with tens of thousands of dollars of loans and the whole 9 yards. And my first job as a reporter, I'm making $14,000 a year. $14,000, and it hasn't gone up much now. The same market is probably paying like $18,000 a year. And the thing is, they realize that they take advantage of journalists in that sense, because they realize that if you say, I'm not going to work for $19,000 a year, $20,000 a year, they'll be like, fine, I have 100 other resumes of people that will. And that's kind of how it's been a low-paying job to a degree. Now, if you make it, if you get into LA and other areas, the pay is still up, but it's not as much as what people would think. It's not Hollywood. It's not, it costs a lot of money when you're talking, booking satellite windows, the equipment, the editing, the whole 9 yards. For just a 30-minute newscast, they don't make a whole lot of money, so reporters don't make a lot, and that, truthfully, is probably the biggest struggle. And a lot of reporters end up leaving the business because they realize they can make more money in PR. They can deal with a 9 to 5 instead of having to work on Christmas and nights and the whole 9 yards, what journalists have to do. But that said, if you have a love for journalism like I do, if you have a passion for knowing that when you do stories, you can affect thousands and thousands of people through what you do, that's what keeps you going, and that's what helps you overcome the struggles.
All right. In your opinion, what would you say the top skills for a student journalist should have to be recognized?
Writing. Number one, you have to be a good writer. You have to be a good storyteller. A lot of people kind of get into it and think that you just show up and you look pretty on camera and somebody hands you a script and you go. You're out there. You have to be able to dig for news. You have to be able to tell stories. You have to be able to work quickly and efficiently. If there's a breaking news story and the newscast is at 5 and at 4:30 you find out there's a rollover with a van, people were killed, some of them are undocumented immigrants, the Border Patrol's coming. I'm talking more in like a market like Tucson. You only have like a half an hour to gather facts, write what you can, put it on a script, and get ready to report live. And you have to be a good, quick storyteller, and you have to have the on-air skills as well. Yeah. But the key is being able to tell stories and writing.
All right, last question. Do you have any advice for others who want to take part in this industry? Definitely.
From the beginning, it's competitive. Realize, and don't let this scare you away. Realize that if you don't make it, most people don't make it as journalists. Always have a backup plan. If you're still within your first or second year in college, double major, because you can always learn journalism skills through internships or through just getting involved in the school paper or school productions and the whole 9 yards. If you have another major in a foreign language, international relations, political science, it's going to help you a lot more, and it's going to make your resume stand out a little bit more than somebody who just has broadcasting. Secondly, get involved now. Start writing for the school paper. Start getting involved with the campus-run radio station, the broadcast journalism department, within whatever university or college you're at. You have to start now. And interns, from the beginning, you got to try to get internships with stations. If you want to do it with a particular team, you can intern with teams and help write press releases, any newspapers, publications. But in this day and age, you have so many opportunities, even online. You can go out and shoot your own stories and put it on YouTube. There's so many opportunities, but it's such a cutthroat business. And lastly, if you're going to work in markets that have Spanish speakers, or maybe even Northern California where there might be more Asians or what have you, learn another language, because you need to have a step up more, as much as you can. You're going up against hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people who are applying for that same job in this industry. And if you just have that skill of being bilingual, that might set you apart from somebody else.
And there you have it, folks. Wise words from Paul Cicala. My name is Kimberly Garcia, and thank you for watching El Paisano News.